Let's get it, dude. What's up, Mr. BBD?
BBD, I like that.
How we doing?
I like that nickname. That's pretty good, man.
Can you believe it's already almost May, dude?
This year's flying by, man.
That's what's like. I feel like every year, and it's so true. I was always told when I was younger, like, I'm sure you were told this too, like, oh, when you get older, years are gonna fly by, and you're like, oh no, no way. And then now it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
it's already 2020, like almost halfway through 2025.
Year's flying by, bro.
It's weird how the older you get, the quicker time really does like fly. Maybe it's because my sleep schedule is trash, but
I mean, heck, you were online last night until like 1 o'clock, weren't you? I remember that. I think I woke up at like 12 or 1, and I saw you were still on.
those late nights, man, they'll get you. Whenever you are a content creator or streamer or whatever, you gotta be willing to like be prepared to have those hours of like you stay up one night till 12, you're in bed by 12, you're awake by 9, 10 a.m. The next night, depending on what your schedule's like, whether you got to film content, edit videos, or stream, or you do a longer stream, a hit or miss kind of, sleep schedule and just schedule overall.
Yeah, but you enjoy it though, so.
It's definitely a blessing. If you were to tell me when I was like a ninth grader in high school in New Hampshire, that years down the road I'd be a influencer with quotes. I don't like to.
You don't like that term?
I just don't like to think of myself as like a big deal. Like people always trip and be like, "Oh my God, look at your followers, 1.6 million." I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, but I just kind of look at myself as the same. So it's like I just don't view myself as big shot or like oh, look at me.
That's good. You're down to earth though. That's
so easy to get lost in the brand deals, the money, the attention, but also what comes with it is like the scariness of like stalkers and people knowing like your every like detail of your life. So that's why it's so important to picky about what you put online. You know what I mean? Because once it's out there, bro, you can always delete stuff, but it's always gonna be out there.
You've had stalkers before?
Not necessarily like people that are like, the trolls that'll come in and be like,
Oh, in the lives and stuff.
like this person came in my live and like said, oh, I'm gonna go call, and then said my grandparents both their first and last names, and then they said, oh, I'm gonna go send them a package to their address and then their actual address, and I was like, yo, what? Like that was really scary for me. So I found out, I did some digging on who it was, because you can, unfortunately, dude, everything's public knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, like, if you do enough research, you can find just about anything out about anybody, which is scary. So that's why I try to be as, like, frugal as I can be. Like, when people say where I'm from, I usually just say the Carolinas. Or, like, you know what I mean? I don't go into, oh, I live here. Like, I'll tell you this, though, dude. I feel like, because when I moved here, I lived here for 10 years. Like, I don't feel like it was as popular as it is now. Like, now it's very, like, a very popular place, and I feel like you could go to like Folly Beach and there wouldn't be too many people. It would be just people that lived here or on vacation. And now, dude, you go to Folly and it's like packed every summer. Like, weekdays, weekends, like it's just busy.
Let's get into some stuff.
Let's get into it, dude. Ask away.
Not the easiest questions. You have cerebral palsy, right?
Yep.
How has that affected your life and how you've grown up?
Damn, that's a good one. So basically, when I was born, to go into detail, I was born 3 months premature. Weighed 2 pounds 4 ounces, could fit in the palm of your hand. The doctors said that I had a 2% chance of living.
Jeez.
And I was in the hospital for about, I think, 3 months after I was born. I was in one of those like incubators that you put premature babies in. And like, I had like heart monitors, and they didn't know that I had CP yet. They didn't even think I was going to make it home from the hospital. So they brought in a priest. He baptized me at the hospital. My mom was in a coma for about 3 months after, I believe, that she had me. Because they had to put her in a medically induced.
Oh, wow.
And like it almost like killed her. Because they had to do a procedure that was still in testing. But they tried it on me, and thankfully it was successful. But they told my parents, like, and grandparents, like, enjoy the time you have with them. Like, he probably won't ever walk or talk, make it to age 10. And fast forward now, we're 26 and stuff, and I'm very grateful. But when they took me home, and like it was about like 6 months after, I like wasn't developing, I wasn't really doing much, I was just kind of existing. So my dad's parents took me in, and they raised me till I was about 6. And then me and my grandmother were at amusement park in Massachusetts, and it was a place called Canopy Lake Park, and there was this dragon roller coaster. It was like a kid roller coaster, and when she was getting off the ride, you know how like when you're getting off a coaster, some of the steps are like really steep.
Yeah.
She went to step and missed, and I flew out of her arms, and she fell, and I flew out of her arms. I hit the guardrail. She took a really bad fall. I was mute. Really, I didn't really talk much at this point. I would say like a few words, make sounds, whatever. Um, so my grandfather sent me to live with my mom's mom, and from the age of like 6 to 16, I lived with my mom's mom, and her boyfriend at the time, who will remain nameless. Um, so growing up from that point, it was rough, dude, because her boyfriend was alcoholic, and he was very verbally, physically, all the types of abuse. And my grandmother at the time, she was going through her own battles and stuff, and she would, you know, use some pills to, feel better or whatever, 'cause she was going through a lot. She had been through a lot of stuff too. The home life was pretty rough, dude. Like he would just, start from the age of 6. Imagine being 6 years old. You have this condition that you know nothing about. You're just thinking to yourself, why do I appear different? You know what I mean? Like what? Why do I look like this? Why do I gotta wear these like leg braces? Why do I have all these scars on me? He didn't get addicted to alcohol until like a couple years till they were together, like so 7, 8 years old. And he would just come over from time to time and spend the night. So it was just me and my grandmother at the time, but he would come pretty often to and from the house. And then he decided to move in like a year later. He was just very toxic, very just not good-hearted, and that was tough. And then school, you know, I always had like an IEP, individual Excel program, which is
Yeah.
kind of like you'd make it for, okay, what do you want your kid to achieve? What are his goals that you have? School was pretty alright. I was liked by everybody. I was a cute kid. Um, I would just smile at everybody. I had a little walker. My eyes were cross-eyed, so you couldn't tell which way I was looking at you. School life didn't get bad up until like high school. High school is where like teasing and like all the just crap, and like my home life at that point when I was 14, 15, my mom had got re-addicted to, drugs, and I was watching her slowly battle addiction. And I wasn't really close with my mom growing up. I was always told that like, she's got a lot going on. She's got her own mental problems. And at the time, I was kept from my grandparents, my dad's side. And my mom's mom, my grandmother, there came a point where I knew my mom was gonna pass away. She had got heavily addicted, and it was actually I was going to see my grandparents for the last time before they were gonna move here, and I like just something took over me, and I said, "What if I move with y'all?" And I then that night I confessed to my grandfather that for the past 10 years I was like not being treated the best at home there, and they said you can come live with us for no issue at all, and I'm very thankful for that. And I think that literally saved my life, because I think if I was still in New Hampshire, I think it would only be a matter of time until I just wouldn't be here anymore. So I want to give a little backstory of like how I got CP and like how everything kind of came to be. But I honestly, and it's so cliche to say, I don't think about it, especially now, and because of like being on social media. And I tell my supporters this all the time. Like it's because of them that I'm who I am now. Like I'm so confident. I carry myself well. I don't pity myself. I'm not plastering over my page. I have CP. I have CP. Because it's not my personality. You know what I mean? It's something I deal with, and it is what it is. And I think I think it's a gift because I'm able to spread awareness about it and educate people about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I give other parents hope, dude. The amount of messages I've gotten from parents. You know, I'm a new mom of a kid with CP. What did you do, or like what did your family do to help you kind of live your best quality life? And I try to tell them, you know, it depends on the severity of the situation, how severe the CP is. But regardless of that, I always say, but regardless of how severe it is,
Mm-hmm.
don't treat them like they're different. You know, accommodate them with what they need,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But don't stop them from doing stuff. If they want to do something, find a way to do it. Don't shut them out from it. The worst thing you could do is let them know that they're different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're all different, but if you like make them know like you are not like everybody else, that sticks with a kid for their whole life. Cause then you know, right?
Yeah.
Versus like if you just go on about your day and like you help them with what they need. If they have questions, you answer. You just be like, you just have a condition. That's it. It doesn't really matter. It only matters if you make it matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So making sure that they don't feel different, like you were saying.
Yeah. And by the way,
And
I'm a certified yapper, so if
like, what advice do you have for somebody that has a disability?
any advice I have to somebody is like, excuse my language, you could probably bleep it, but stop giving a fuck like what people think. Um, and I think for me, my stop giving a fuck moment was like 2020, 2021. It was the summer that I was in college. I was chilling with my brother all summer long. It was one of the best, one of the best summers of my life, man. It was just me, my brother, my mom's mom, my grandmother, at the house where I grew up. And me and him were just shooting the shit every day. Like he'd get home from work, we'd do our thing, we'd just cook together, just spend time together. And in that moment, like I was in the best shape of my life at the time, and I remember it was like I was sitting in the kitchen one night, and it was like 2 a.m. You know, I was feeling pretty good because at the time I was smoking the whole summer.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
never knew that.
You know, I was just smoking with my brother, and you know, I was just like, why do I care what people think? And then from that moment on, it just clicked, and now I just don't really care,
Mm-hmm.
because people what I tell people, right, the more time you spend on letting something bother you or someone, it's taking away from you advancing for yourself and bettering who you are as a person. Because like you're all you got in this world, bro. Like we're with ourselves 24/8. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the more time you let what irrelevant people that don't know a damn thing about you affect you, like it's just taking away from you improving yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I would just tell people like embrace it, but don't let it consume you.
Growing up, who was your biggest influence?
Definitely my grandfather. He was so my dad's dad. He was like emotional. He was like a father figure to me that I never had. Like my dad, he was kind of just not around, and you know my grandfather when I went to live with him especially. Um, you know I was a kid who was lost. You know didn't really have any direction um, at all. My grandparents basically had to take a 16-year-old kid who was like basically like a 5-year-old. Like, and this is getting like real deep to where I've never told this online, but I didn't know what a shower was, like showering on a regular basis.
Mm.
I didn't know what hygiene was. It was bad. I never knew what deodorant was, cologne,
Wow. So you
nothing.
learned all that when you were at 16. He showed you.
Yeah, like he
Wow.
was like, this is proper hygiene. This is what you need to do. Like clean your ass, like shower frequently, like deodorant, cologne, groom yourself. You know, like properly, just take care of yourself. And you know, he's old school Italian. Like works really, really hard. Like busts his ass. He's almost 80 now. Sorry, Papa, but He's almost like 80, and he's still working like 6, 7 days a week. Like he's 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so his work ethic is one that you hope you come across, and like you would hope to have a role model like that in your life, to where they show you like to get what you want, you gotta scratch and claw and fight. There's no easy way to it. Nothing's ever gonna be handed to you. Just seeing his work ethic and the way he carries himself, he really teaches you how to be a real man, and I'm very thankful for everything he's taught me. And to my dad too, we're not the closest, but I'm very proud of him for you know being sober for X amount of years now and being a good dad to my sisters, and being there for my stepmom, who I love to death. She's really you know kept him on track with everything, and I'm so thankful for her. But I'm just glad that my dad's like a good dad to her kids and my sisters.
Grandpa sounds like a good guy, though.
He is, dude. He is.
And heck, he's 80 years old and still working 6, 7
Yeah,
days a week.
he's like I'll kind of he's like 77.
So,
So,
geez. I mean, I'd still up there, though. But I mean,
yeah.
that's good work ethic to have.
Yeah, he's getting after it. He's getting after it. Old geezer.
I won't edit that out. So you just talked about your grandpa being your biggest influence.
Yep.
Who has been your biggest support system?
I would say, like, are we talking like up until or like right now?
Right now.
Oh man, I'd say Savannah, my girlfriend, for sure.
So how'd you meet Savannah?
TikTok actually. She followed me 2019. Actually, she followed me, and she messaged me in April of 2020, saying on Instagram, saying, "Hey, hope you and the family are doing well." And then about a year later, no joke, I was close to getting verified on Snapchat, because you need a certain amount of subscribers. So I'd post like, "Hey, add my Snapchat, whatever," and it was in the summer of July, uh, and she added me, and from the first moment I saw her, I was like, "Whoa, like this feels weird," you know what I mean? And there had been girls that like I talked to and like got to know, like, or whatever, but it just never felt right, you know what I mean? Like it never felt right. And they would do stuff that I didn't like party or drink or whatever. I don't like that stuff. Um, it was Savannah from like the first moment that she like Snapchatted me. We just started talking every day since, and then on the fourth day of us talking, she just told me she loved me, and it just kind of happened
Wow.
from there. But she's been such a good support system for me. She, has always pushed me. She taught me how to drive. She's always pushed me with like streaming full time, like when I doubted myself and stuff like that. She is way more of a support system than she could ever imagine. I just don't want to feed her head make her head a little too big. But I'm very, very, very thankful for her. And I'd say I have this friend. Her name is Lee. She I've known her for about 2 years now, and she's like a grandmother to me. She's a bit older, and she's like a grandmother to me, and I am very thankful for her, because she has taught me a lot, and she's very successful. And the people always tell you, when you meet somebody who's more successful than you, listen to them. Like if they give you advice or criticism or whatever, listen to it, take it and apply it however you can. And I'm very thankful for her. She's always there for me when I need her. And Savannah too, and just so many other people. But right now, like the core, like someone I'm around all the time, is Savannah. So she's been really cool, and she's just been so supportive and loving, and yeah, she's great, man. I've been with her for almost 4 years now.
How'd she end up moving down here? Isn't she from, I think you said Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, yep. She We did long distance for a while, and let's see, we started dating October 13th, 2021. And after like going back and forth, it was about March of 22, and she was just ready to get out of Pennsylvania and, start her life. Because we were older, where we were still in our young 20s, but I think I was terrible at math, so forgive me. I was 22, she was 21.
Okay.
We're two young 20-year-olds, and we want to be together because we know, like, this is it. This is, like, you're my person and stuff like that. And I offered to move to Pennsylvania. I originally offered, I said, I don't mind moving there. She said, no, I want out of here. She said, there's just nothing in PA for me besides her family, and that was the hardest thing for her.
Yeah.
Was leaving her family, and her family took it really hard. But I offered to move to Pennsylvania because I would have done anything for her. It's cheaper there. But yeah, she moved to South Carolina in May of 22, and then about a month later we moved out, me and her, with one of my friends at the time from high school and his girlfriend.
I don't want to feed her head too much now.
Yeah, it's already big enough.
Do I need to cut that out?
No.
Don't cut it out.
She got a big head.
So how did that come about to where she taught
Yeah.
you how to drive, and how did that all play effect? And
At the time when I was living it was me and Savannah. We were living with the roommates, my friend from high school and his girlfriend. I was living off a disability the first 4 months that we were living there. I would get like X amount a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were all paying like 400 something a month for rent. We would split it 4 ways. So, man, I miss those times. Just the rent and stuff. But eventually I was like, okay, I gotta do something, man. I gotta provide. I want to get a job because I had never been able to have one because I was in college, right? And my grandparents said, college first. Worry about a job later. College. After I graduated, I'm like, all right, I want to get a job because I'm sick of living off of one check a month, you know. So I got a job at Publix, and at the time, all my roommates were working, like Savannah, and then my buddy at the time, and then his girlfriend. They were all working, so nobody could take me to work. But I got a job at Publix.
Oh, yeah. That's where we met at.
That we worked at together, and it was like by a drive like 3-4 minutes away, and then by a bike it was like an 8-minute bike ride, and then so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ride a bike to work because I would need a custom bike with big training wheels, whatever. So I was like, how can I, get to and from work? Because I didn't have even a permit at the time. I just had a ID, and I was like, mobility scooter, and that's where and I wasn't going live yet at the time. I wasn't streaming or doing anything like that. So I'm like, okay, mobility scooter. I'm like, okay, but I need one that's like weatherproof. So if I'm driving to work with the mobility scooter, because I can ride on the sidewalks, I'll be protected from the elements. So I find a mobility scooter with like a whole canopy, but I made a GoFundMe for the mobility scooter to help me raise enough money to get that so I can then save up to get like a transportation vehicle because I was going to go get my permit. She had been driving me around our whole relationship. So I was like, okay, eventually, I want to be able to drive because when we would go visit her family, come back, she'd have to drive the whole way. And that's a lot of driving. So I was like, I got to step it up, dude. Then we raised the money for the scooter. Very, very thankful for that. And then I was able to save up enough to, at the time I was too scared to drive a car for whatever reason. So I saved up enough money to put a down payment on a 2022 Can-Am Ryker 600. It's a reverse trike, you know it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know the bike, man. Fast forward, I ran into a situation, long story short, with my ex-roommate, and we met this guy that rode bikes. Didn't like his vibe. yada yada yada, and then that kind of ruined riding my bike for me. So there was one night where Savannah was not feeling good, and she couldn't even drive, but she needed something from the store. And I said, okay, I have my permit, you know, I'll drive us to the store.
Mm.
So, oh, and by the way, just so I don't miss it, after I got my bike, I went and took my permit test. Because all you need is a permit to ride it, because it's a trike.
Yeah.
So, um, I failed it the first time. I was so pissed. Failed my permit test. And then I retook it and passed by like 1 point. And, and then, so I had my permit. So I remember driving her car. She had a 21 Honda Civic. And I felt like I was driving a tank on the road, dude. And Savannah's like, you're swerving. Because I didn't know how to drive. And it was my first time ever driving a car on the road. So I'm like just sitting there and it's fucking terrible, dude. And I'm fucking driving on the little grass area, and I'm like, oh. Then I was like, okay, I gotta start practicing. And then I started practicing, and then I saved up enough money to buy my first car, which was a 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, fully loaded. I think it was a SE or something like that. That car had 79 horsepower, and um, yeah, it was a street legal go-kart.
Jeez.
And I realized that with time that vehicle was not safe. And then I got 2 Kia Souls. Until you drive a Kia Soul, don't come at me, okay? Until you drive a Kia Soul, do not come at me at all. They're good cars. I did a road trip a week. A week after I got my license, I drove 9 hours to Pennsylvania in the Kia Soul with Savannah.
Gee, you drove the whole 9 hours?
I was cruising.
Wow.
Listening to Luke Combs, man, I was good. I was
Good
good.
singer.
Yeah, I was good, dude. And then I got a fully loaded black Kia Soul. Loved it. But my mobility scooter didn't fit in the trunk. It kept getting stuck and all that. So I was like, well, damn. And then Kias, with the reliability and stuff like that. And I needed maintenance done on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, we need your car for like 7 to 10 weeks. I said, okay, can I have a loaner? No, sorry. I ain't doing that. See you later. So Savannah's lease was going to be up for her white Civic. So I was like, okay, let me look into this. And now my Honda Civic hatchback that I have has a lot more trunk space, and it's able to fit my scooter, and I love it. But with driving, I started driving officially, like practicing November, December. I started like really practicing. So just over time, and then I got my license in March of 24. So I just hit like a little over a year that I had my license.
Mm.
But I used to drive with a knob. You remember my knob?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, dude. I used to drive with a trucker knob that, and I was like, you know what? I want to be able to drive any car, if I had to. So I started driving without my knob when I got my current car in June of last year. And I've just done fine ever since.
Good, man.
Yeah, and my advice to anybody who wants to drive, just do it. There's so many adaptations now for people. There's people with no arms that drive. There's people with no legs that drive.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they can do it, why can't you? You know what I mean? If you want your independence, go out there and get it. That's what I say.